How's everyone doing today? Welcome to Fitzy Friday. Sean Fitzgerald, one of the personal trainers here at the Upper Valley Aquatic Center. And thanks for tagging along with us to end your week. And like always, go ahead, like, subscribe, and see what kind of information we can kind of chit chat back and forth with, and other topics that we're able to kind of pick up on. So thanks for kind of tagging along. And from here, let's kind of go on kind of a topic that we were just kind of discussing here at the club that up at the desk is a lot of people kind of chit-chatting about eating after a certain time, right? So the whole idea is you're not allowed to eat after like 7 p.m., right? If you eat after that, it's like a witching hour, and boom, I'm automatically going to gain weight as soon as I eat after that, right? So we're going to kind of chit chat and get involved in that and see like why some people might think that that's kind of an idea or kind of a little bit of a topic. So chit chatting about is what is your goal for a training program, right? Are you looking to gain muscle? Are you looking to the so-called term tone, right? Are you looking to lose weight, drop body fat percentage? Are you looking, so that is going to be the first part, is understanding, one, what is your training goal, right? So then we can start kind of dividing into that. So, what we'll do is, just for today's sake, we'll talk about someone wanting to drop some weight, right? They wanting to, lose some pounds, eventually lose some body fat, and, basically look better, feel better, right? So we want to basically take a look at, the hardest part is how many calories do you actually burn through a day, right? So without being in a lab and really like testing, we can get a good ballpark, off of, certain scales. You can use apps like MyFitnessPal, like you can get a good ballpark with a calculation, and, kind of will give you an idea, right? And then from there, you keep track. But so for, the sake of argument, we'll just chit chat like, you roughly burn 2,000 calories. Like that's, if you ate 2,000, you want to gain, you want to lose, right? So for sake of argument, we'll just hover right around the 2,000, right? So what you really want to do is you take a look at it, and it's 2,000 calories a day you are able to consume, right? There's 24 hours in a day. So you want to take a look at hours in a day, not hours that you are awake, because I think that's where some people will kind of get confused and things like that. But we want to take a look at 2,000 calories a day, right? You want to lose weight. So ideally, we're looking at around 100 calories less a day that you would eat, or so hover right around 1,800 to 1,900 calories, right? We'll just say, for the sake of argument, easy math, right? So, 100 calories less than, say, your 2,000, right? Over a course of 7 days is 700 calories, like that you would be consuming less, right? So a really good start, right? And ideal, because it's very consistent, right? Because if you're already eating 2,000, eliminating 100 really actually isn't that bad, and it is actually very attainable, and it's a lot easier than you think. So we take a look at that. All right, we want to consume, we want to be in a calorie deficit, right? We want to eat less than how much we're burning. So theoretically, we would start to burn fuel somewhere else in our body, right, to actually start to lose the weight, right? So not to get too much into the science and everything like that, it's basically less you consume less calories, theoretically you'll start to drop the weight, right? So we want to take a look at that, right? So all right, let's chit chat through the day, right? Typical work day is 8 hours, right? We'll say, for easy math, it's 8 hours, say a 9 to 5, right? You're going to be going to bed, say, around 10, right? So that gives you from 5 to 10 after work, whether, parent or not, doesn't really matter. It gives you the 5 hours. Like, of what you want to do. So take a look at what you are actually consuming throughout the day. This is where the hard part is for everyone, right? Actually tracking and not underestimating what you eat, right? So accurately tracking that, all right, for breakfast, I had X, Y, and Z, it equaled 500 calories. Lunch, X, Y, and Z, 500 calories. Dinner, X, Y, and Z, 500 calories. Simple math, 5,000, 1,500, right? So your daily caloric expenditure is 2,000. You have just consumed 500 calories less. Would I recommend that? No, but easy math, right? Let's just do easy math for to kind of capitalize on it, right? So that's 500 calories less in a day that your body would consume. So theoretically, over time, right? It just doesn't happen like that, right? You would start to drop some weight, right? So let's throw in a little bit. If you work third shift, say you work overnight, right? You're clearly eating past 7 p.m. Does that make you unhealthy or healthy? Nope. There's a lot of people that do it that are still really fit. And guess what? They eat past 7 p.m., right? So time doesn't matter. It's actually what you are eating that matters, right? So, say, all right, breakfast was 500, right? Lunch was 500, right? So that gives you 1,000. So, mathematically, you only have 1,000 calories left to hit your 2,000, your equilibrium, right? The gain none, lose none, right? So, what are you gonna have for dinner, right? Are you gonna have a dinner that contains, say, 700 calories, right? And then before bed, you kind of get hungry and you dive into something. Well, that only leaves 300 calories, and I guarantee you that snack that you're gonna probably eat is going to be over your 300 calories. So this is where this kind of play comes in, because if you think about a bowl of ice cream, some chips, some cake, brownies, some type of dessert, right, is going to be more calories than you thought. So you're going to bed actually over your 2,000 calorie mark. That's where the weight gain would come from, because you are now consuming more calories than what your body is burning. So that is in turn gaining weight. So you do that once, twice, 3, 4, like how many times a week do you do it? Do you just do it on the weekends? So it's kind of, you really got to take that with a grain of salt. Is if I'm eating that late, is it because I'm overeating, right? I'm going past my caloric number to actually lose weight. So, all right, so say you don't, Monday through Friday, right? You're through the week, you're really good, right? You're eating your 1,800. I am 200 calories under a day. You don't snack, you don't do anything like that. Comes the weekend, right? You get 2,000 on Saturday and Sunday, right? Drinks, alcohol, right? Binge watching, and you start snacking because food's in front of you, right? Well, just because you did really good Monday through Friday doesn't mean that Saturday and Sunday you can just go way overboard. I'm not saying you have to give up everything, but if you are at a 2,000 calorie limit and Monday through Friday you go 200 under, so that means, 5 times 2 is 1,000. On Saturday and Sunday, I can go 500 over on Saturday and Sunday. That's not how it works. All right, that's just not how it works. So, if you say on Saturday you kind of indulge a little bit, do it, right? Enjoy it. Don't deprive yourself of it, right? Enjoy it. And then on Sunday, just be like, all right, you know what? I had a pretty big dinner. I don't really feel that great. Maybe just have something a little lighter for breakfast. Add some more fruit and veggies within it. Take something else out. Add a little bit more protein, a little something more filling, a little more fiber, right? So it's not an end all be all if you kind of go, you kind of indulge yourself. Like, that's the part of it. Like, you don't use exercise as a punishment because you went overboard, right? So you got to take a look at, how much I'm consuming daily. Am I going over? Am I going under? Right? Am I maybe not calculating it correctly, or It looks like about a cup, right? Or, oh, if it's in the palm of my hand, it's about 8 ounces, right? So it's like those things, it's better to kind of overshoot. And then once, if you're feeling too hungry, all right, then maybe snack on a little something a little healthier, a little bit more fruit, a little more veggies, maybe some nuts or something to kind of, play around with where you're at, and then start to see, week in, week out, like what changes, where's my hunger at, what am I starting to kind of crave, right? So it's not like 7:01, I'm kind of snacking on something, oh, it automatically turns to fat and it just gains on me. That's not how it works, right? Your body doesn't have a clock inside you that says, oh, 7:01, like anything that I consume is automatically turned into fat. Like, not how it works, right? So you need to take a look at the overall big picture of it, right? And really understand that it's about how much I consume. So, what might happen is if you had something maybe a little carb heavy, like, right, your breads, your pastas, and things like that. Maybe you ate a little bit too much and you just kind of feel a little bloated, and it might be too much for you, or it just might bother your stomach, right? And that, like that's why you don't feel that great. It's not because you ate past 7. It could be a very entirely different situation. Maybe you don't usually eat dairy all that much, right? And you put some cheese on it, and like, the cheese is kind of bothering you, or or maybe the butter, right? Or maybe your sauce had a little bit too much. It was a little acidic, right? And it kind of is upsetting your stomach, right? So there's other things that kind of you want to look at to really take a look. The hardest thing to do is a food journal. So it's a lot of the things that we kind of find is that it's actually accuracy and actually maintaining a food journal. It's really hard to ask someone, hey, I want you to jot down every single thing that you consume, right? That's hard, right? It's hard for anyone, even even for us, it's hard enough for me to track what because you're on the fly, you just kind of grab something, right? And then you kind of forget about it, right? So it's really hard to ask someone, especially when someone's never done that, and then you go from never doing any of that type of journaling, note taking, anything like that, to, hey, for the next 2 weeks, you need to jot down everything, right? So it's kind of asking a lot. On top of, you need to exercise 3 to 4 times a week. You need to do this, you need to do that, right? Not the easiest thing to do, right? So, really jotting down, maybe taking some notes, start off small, like jot down what you have for breakfast, like maybe on a whiteboard or something, or when you meal plan, if that's something that you like keep it maybe a little separate tab or something and kind of jotting it down and see if that helps a little bit, right? So, it's very hard to kind of go from doing something that you're used to trying to add a whole new area in, right? So, just start out small steps to get where you want. Like start out with just maybe your breakfasts or just your lunch, or, even if you're like, that's kind of easy, like see how you feel after you eat. Do you feel really full? Do you feel satisfied? Do you, like something that doesn't really bother me? Maybe then you start pinpointing certain things and maybe this type of pasta I don't like, or, maybe turkey bothers me and I don't really like it, but I've always had sandwiches, or maybe oil and bacon, so it's things like that you can kind of narrow down and really figure out. But it's really, you want to lose weight, it's calorie deficit. That's just how it is. But it's not an extreme calorie deficit. If you lose 2,000, you just can't consume 1,200 a day and expect anything to really happen. It's bad for your body. We just can't do that, right? Let's take a couple hundred calories off and just kind of monitor and see what works, what doesn't work, and play. Play around. If you start strength training, adding more protein, maybe you'll start eating a little bit more. That might even be better. So it's kind of a play, right? It's an experiment. You experiment on yourself, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and you go from there. Because what works for me isn't going to work for you, isn't going to work for your friend, right? So it's kind of each person is very individualized, and they got to learn for themselves what works for them and what doesn't. So there is no such thing as a witching hour, right? It's not your body says at 7:01 it automatically turns food into fat. It doesn't work like that, right? Everything is based on a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus, right? And from there, that's where you kind of need to figure out what is and what isn't. So I hope that this kind of, shed a little bit of light and, kind of makes things a little less stressful because, there are a bunch of us that do eat past 7 because we don't get home until around that time, right? So, it's kind of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So it's experiment, taking notes, figuring out if something isn't adding up, and then go from there. Use the MyFitnessPal app. That's a good one that you can use to track, and they have a barcode. And it's helpful. It's handy. It's quick. It's easy. You can save recipes and things like that. So if you really want to figure it out, that's one avenue you can do. And then hopefully that kind of helps a little bit. So hopefully you got a little bit of good news here. And today's Friday, week's over. So hopefully you guys get to enjoy the weekend. It looks like it's gonna be nice up here. So the rain's moving out. And like always, go ahead, like, subscribe, and kind of share some information back and forth with everyone. And always, if you're ever here up in the Upper Valley, stop on in the Aquatic Center and say hi to us and chit chat with us. So hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you all next week. See you later.